From Cleveland's most accurate weather team, this is 19 First Alert Plus. Sponsored by the man that makes them pay, Tim Misney.
Jeff Slauson here from your First Alert forecast here, showing you that view heading downtown that is completely covered right now. We bring in Jason Nicholas here. Just you can see what we're seeing, right, Jason?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, that, I mean, it looks like a layer of fog or a cloud. That is not. That's smoke, right?
Yeah, you normally would think you'd see that. Okay, a little bit of fog, a little bit of haze out there, maybe even some rain. I will tell you that really not seeing any rain out there. This is all from the smoke from the Canadian wildfire, something we've been talking about a lot. We issued the alert yesterday. The alert is in effect for today, and we decided to extend it for tomorrow. I do think, to be clear, conditions may improve a little bit, Jeff, for tomorrow, but it's still going to be unhealthy for a lot of folks, if not everyone, like we're seeing today. So let's take a look here at that alert day graphic. So this is for the rest of today and into tomorrow. Now, the Weather Service hasn't issued an air quality advisory for tomorrow yet. I'm betting they will. Even if they don't, it really doesn't matter. We have the similar data to what they do. So we're going to get the smoke again tomorrow. You look off to the north and west, and there's still some smoky conditions out toward the Chicago area. All that air's got to come our way. So there's a good bet that while it won't be as intense tomorrow, our numbers will probably be a little bit better. We've all gotten kind of versed with the air quality numbers, and we've spent much of the day in the twos, which is not good. We may get a little reprieve tomorrow, but again, it's going to still be unhealthy for certainly the sensitive folks, but potentially for everyone. Everyone could be impacted by this because the particulate matter from wildfires is very small. It can get into your lungs, it can stay there, and in some cases it can get into your bloodstream. So in many situations, this is not anything to take lightly. Best advice is stay inside. If you're going to be out and about driving, keep the windows up, the air on. I've seen folks wearing the big N95 masks out there. Not a bad idea. Those can help. Really, the cloth masks won't do much because the particulates are so fine, but the stronger N95 ones can help you a little bit. But best idea here, Jeff, is to stay in.
All right, Jason, going to take a quick break down something real fast, and then we will continue on our day there. But yeah, a quick break courtesy of Tim Misney.
I've represented families just like yours for over 4 decades. Listen, if you need me, call me. You know I'll be there for you, and I'll make them pay. In the meantime, I'll keep an eye out for you.
Now, Jason mentioned that we are in the twos. That's the graph that we've been kind of looking at all day. Probably many of you at home are familiar with this. The current air quality at 243. Jason, this is what you're referring to, right?
Yeah, and you can see it's in the purple. Purple's not good. We are in the very unhealthy category. It goes from unhealthy to very unhealthy to hazardous. And really, when we think about very unhealthy, that is that number in the mid-twos. We spent, I believe earlier this morning, we were in the 290s. So we've improved a little bit. This is for Cleveland. Now, not everybody is seeing the same air quality. In fact, just south of the lakeshore, things are a little bit better down through Medina and Worcester, but still in the unhealthy range. So this is the number that we're talking about. We do expect this to improve a little bit, Jeff, tonight into tomorrow, but most likely stay in the unhealthy category even tomorrow. That's why we went ahead and issued the alert. This is apparently, again, this is not something that we watch every day here in Northern Ohio, but apparently, according to those folks who study this, the number this morning in the 290s was the highest number Cleveland's ever recorded. So it's not hyperbole to say this is some of the worst air we've seen in recent history. And you wouldn't get this type of poor air quality unless it was from most likely a wildfire like we're seeing, or the wildfires. You know, there's almost 500 burning up there in Canada, 400 some, and some of those, many of those wildfires, unfortunately, are not in control. They're out of control, not contained, I should say. So this could be going on a little bit. It's all about the upper level winds and where that smoke plume is steered to. I do expect some improvement late tomorrow, and certainly improvement Friday into the upcoming weekend.
Yeah, just a couple of things before we let you go there. If you look at the map, you may wonder why all of this isn't centered on Canada. It's because of that wind, right? That's bringing it down toward us.
Yep. Winds, north winds, northwest winds, bringing it right down. And in this case, it's not necessarily just in the upper levels. As we know, if you stepped outside today, I smelled it a little bit last night coming home from work at about midnight-ish. And then again, obviously this morning it was there, and then again this afternoon. So that smell, it's not something we're accustomed to smelling here in Northern Ohio. I used to work out in New Mexico, and I covered wildfires out there, and it almost has that same type of western wildfire smell. It's just not something we typically get here, and that's a combination of obviously unusual amount of fires in Canada and then those winds bringing that down. So again, we've said it a lot. Stay inside if you can. Kind of wait on those outdoor activities, especially if you're in one of those groups that are impacted by this. But again, everyone could be. It's that thick, the air's that poor, those particulates can get into your lungs, into your bloodstream potentially. So it's one of those things you really do want to take seriously.
All right, Jason Nicholas, thank you so much. We'll see you over on 19 News at 5 o'clock, right?
Yep.
5 o'clock, and we will leave you with this shot, which I think is really fascinating. This is the live look from Cedar Point. The park is still open, but for many people, this is not necessarily a good thing. Many things have closed, despite the fact that some things are still open. I'm going to be breaking that down on 19 News at 5 o'clock. Our news is going to be continuing. We've been on, of course, our 3.5 hours of nonstop news starting at 3 o'clock. I'm watching Erica Page right now on our air talk about the satellite imaging and where exactly this smoke is coming from. But again, this is not a joke here, and this is not a scare tactic when the air quality is at a very unhealthy level. So just a quick reminder of what we're looking at here. When we start to approach the orange and the red, that is when, if you have difficulties breathing, if you are somebody who deals with a chronic issue like that, if you have asthma, something like that, okay, that's when it is difficult for you. Once we start to approach the purple and the dark purple area, that is 200 and 300 AQI, or again, air quality levels, that is when everybody needs to be concerned. For anybody that's walked outside, you've noticed it. You've driven around, you've noticed it. Looking at our live shot heading downtown, you will notice this, and that is why we are trying to make sure that you are as prepared as possible, of course, and as understood on what you should and should not be doing over the next couple of days. Again, I'll be breaking down closures coming up on 19 News at 5 o'clock, but our news is continuing. Of course, until then, again, Erica Page is breaking down that smoke tracker. I see her doing that as of right now. All right, that's the latest for your First Alert forecast. For now, I'm Jeff Slauson with 19 News. Have a great day. Much more to come, both on air and online.
19 News, now streaming on Samsung Smart TV. Search for channel 1035.